Welcome to another Vahrenberg Implement buying tips video, and today we're here with our rotary cutters. Rotary cutters are often slang termed brush hogs, bush hogs, brush mowers, that type of stuff. The technical terminology is a rotary cutter. It's a machine that has swinging blades that beats the grass and beats the brush and trees, and you can see the blades underneath there. But what we want to talk about is tips to help you find the best rotary cutter to fit your needs. We're here with the RhinoAG product, and we've got a 5-footer and a 6-foot cutter here. But if you look at them, you can see some unique differences between the two. And these are only two examples. RhinoAG makes hundreds of models of different rotary cutters. I mean, we even get into the 10, the 12, the 15-foot big dogs over here. We've got other single spindles. Single spindles are considered one gearbox. This is a single spindle mower because you have a single gearbox. Some mowers have multiple gearbox. We call them multi-spindles, 2-3 gearboxes. That's typically in your 8 to 10 foot cut, or your larger flex wings, as the ones over here, the wings fold up and down. Those are multiple gearbox systems too. But what we want to talk about is the single spindle cutter. It's probably one of the largest markets for rotary cutters. There's a lot of people playing in this market, and there's a lot of differences and things you need to watch out. One of the first things that I'm going to suggest is parts availability. There is some companies out here and they sell some cheap stuff, and we actually had one roll in the lot. They had cheap 5 and 6 foot cutters. I asked him, where you got parts? He says, oh, we don't sell parts. You just buy you another mower when you have a gearbox failure or need parts for it. So look at the main brands. RhinoAG is part of the Alamo group. They are one of the largest cutter builders in the country. They own the 3 top names, and RhinoAG being one of those names. Are all owned by the same parent company. But one of the things you want to look at is cut capacity. Now, what is cut capacity? Man, that's probably one of the biggest things people don't understand. A cutting capacity is the size diameter of the tree. This is a TW15, and RhinoAG makes it easier. This is our Twister series. The 1 is the inch of cutting capacity. The 5 is the width of mower. So this machine is capable of cutting trees 1 inch in diameter. Well, this machine over here is our TW26. And guess what size that is? Yep. You can cut a 2-inch tree, which that is a cross section of a 2-inch tree. We've actually got cutters that'll cut up to 5-inch material, and that is a beast of a mower. But when you're looking for compact utility tractor mowers, the 1-inch and 2-inch is going to be the size that fits most applications. So cutting capacity is one of the first things you want to determine. Are you cutting grass and annual saplings and that type of stuff? A 1-inch cutter is probably everything you need. This is a 5-footer. Here's a 6-footer in the same thing. Same cutter, just different widths. There's a 6-footer. Need to go into a 7-foot, 2-inch cut capacity, we got them over here. Different sizes, are available with different cutting capacities. That's where if you need to step up from a 1-foot, 1-inch cut capacity, you can step up into a 2-inch cut capacity. So understanding cut capacity is about the size of trees that you can handle and mow down. So if you're trying to reclaim property, need to cut some trees, 2-inch tree is going to be a pretty dang good tree. You have to push that tree down and chop it. You're chopping it more, the blade is chopping it more this way than cutting a direct cut across it. So that's how a rotary cutter can cut down big trees, because it's chipping away at the diameter of that material. So one of the first things you need to do and determine is your cutting capacity of the work that you're going to do. If you're cutting just grass and brush like we mentioned, the 1 inch may be the perfect mower for you. The 2 inch can still cut grass, cut brush, but it's going to be able to handle bigger stuff if you need to knock down some bigger trees. So cut capacity is one of the first things. The next thing is one of those things that you don't think about. Cutters, in cutting grass, your front half of your mower is your cut chamber. This is where the cutting action's going on. The blade is coming around here and cutting the grass, and it's throwing and distributing in the back half. So front half is cut chamber, rear half is distribution of the residue. But one of the things that affects that is mower depth. The thickness of this. How deep is it from here up to the top of the deck here? Affects how much material you can cut. Thicker grass, it's gonna, if you're getting real heavy rank stuff, it's going to not have enough room and it's going to clog up here. And what happens, that stuff is going to fall out and bunch up out of suspension. One of the things to do is measure. Like this deck right here is roughly 9 inches deep here in the 10 series, and you come over to the 20 series where it's the deepest deck, and you're going to look here, we're at a little over 11 inches deep. So we've got an extra 2 inches of volume that we can cut heavier volumes of grass and distribute it properly by the deck, by the design of the cutter. There is some cutters out here, man, they ain't got decks as deep as some lawnmowers. I've seen 0 turns with deeper decks. That is the same thing in finished mowers as it in rotary cutters. Volume that you can handle is controlled by deck depth. And you'll see, we're going to look at the TW15, we're going to go undercover, and you can see how deep this deck is in here. You've got a double support here for your gearbox, and then it squeezes that grass down to distribute it out. Taking that airflow, there is actually more engineering underneath these decks than there is on top of them, and that's because of cut quality and distribution quality. RhinoAG is very serious about making the ultimate cutter, of cutting the best cut. You got to have a high lift blade to create suction to raise that material up, cut it off, and then distribute it. Throw that stuff out the back so it makes a nice thin layer of material based. Now that's going to be based on what you're cutting, but they're going to distribute that residue as evenly as possible. And we're going to go underneath the 20 here to show you the same, how deep the deck is. You see a lot more depth under here to handle a lot more volume of material. So the material, the deck design is going to translate in one of the things that you should consider when buying a mower. There is a lot of deck designs out there, and some of them do a better job than others. And that's one of the things we're impressed with the RhinoAG product, is the attention to detail of cut quality and residue management to give you a better cut, so you don't lump that material and kill out your good grass that you're trying to get grow, because when you kill it out, the weeds come. The next thing we want to talk about is gearbox ratings. The old gearbox ratings. There's a gearbox on our 20 series. Man, that thing looks a lot big. This is pretty nice, big and beefy. And here's our gearbox on our 10 series. It's a smaller gearbox. It doesn't need as much, this machine isn't going to require as much horsepower. You want to go see some big beefy gearboxes, come look at these. Our TS, our 4150, our 3150. Look at this gearbox. Look how big that one is. That one's actually featured on our 3-inch cut machine. And look at that gearbox. That is a 250 horsepower gearbox. But who rates them? There is no industry standard on rating gearbox. Again, there is no measurement by the farm equipment industry to determine that rating on it. The manufacturer judges that. So some companies going to say that gearbox on their brand may be more horsepower than this one. This one, some companies may say that gearbox may be lighter than somebody's gearbox on another one. What you need to do is look at the manufacturer. RhinoAG does it by field tests. And by field testing, they are one of the biggest testing companies of rotary cutters in the industry. They determine the gearbox horsepower based on the usage on the mower and to fit the tractor. Like this TW15 we have on the 1700E series for Massey Ferguson. It's a 34 to 39 engine. We've actually got a 39 here. We're in the 25 PTO horsepower range. And that's what you got to look at when you're looking at cutters. Horsepower is not the engine. It's not this second number that a lot of manufacturers are using. That's the engine. That's an engine on a test stand with nothing hooked up. PTO horsepower is what matters. The PTO shaft is right there. PTO horsepower is tested by a dynamometer that the dealer has to show you can replicate how much PTO horsepower. A TW15 requires 20 PTO horsepower to operate. A TW25 and this cutter in a 5-foot takes 25 PTO horsepower. So it takes more horsepower to run this machine in a 2-inch cutter than a 1-inch cutter. It's because of the gearing, the heaviness of the componentry and all that stuff. It takes more horsepower than the lighter machine. You get into 6-foot, the TW16 takes 25 horsepower. So our 2-inch 5-foot and our 1-inch 6-foot take the same PTO horsepower. But when you step up to the 26, it takes 35 PTO horsepower. And that's where we have it matched with this 2604H today from Massey Ferguson. It's a 45 engine horsepower, 38 PTO horsepower tractor that will handle this mower perfectly. So, understand gearbox ratings are what the manufacturer wants. So you can't just judge this one has a heavier gearbox than another manufacturer because it's probably close, but it's not scientific like engine horsepower or PTO horsepower. Use the manufacturer's discretion when selecting your gearbox rating. Construction methods. Whoa, we can get into hours of this. But you can see here between our TW15, our bracing for our mower. This brace versus look at that tube. Look how much heavier. That's part of the things you're going to see as the mowers graduate up into heavier mowers. You're going to see the structural strength increase from our 10 series to our 20 series. That's part of the difference. Bigger gearbox, heavier metal, more bracing. Look at the tail wheel. Here's another one. This tail wheel is a simple tail wheel design. Works very well. Just has a rubber tire. This one is a lot heavier system with a laminate tire, a little bigger tire. This one has just deflectors, a metal deflector on the back and a rubber deflector on the front. That keeps your material from getting thrown at the operator, knocks it down. Where when we go into the 20 series, you can get chain guards. Chain guards are pretty much, you buy them and you never have to replace them. RhinoAG does some neat stuff. I mean, they crimp the ends, steel cables, it's all up above so the material ain't wearing on this, but heavy duty chains on the back and the front of the machine. Notice the cable's inside so it's not out here where it can get bent or wear from the tractor or from running over material. Construction methods can include the way the mower floats. You have to have a way the mower floats. This one floats by this linkage here. This linkage allows it to pivot up and down as you go over contours. This one, this linkage floats from this position. We'll just let them down here, because with hydraulics you got this gravity fall. So you can see when the gravity fall, this piece raised. That allows this mower to float up and over contours. You set your back wheel for your cutting height, you set your front cutting height by where you throw the 3-point hitch, and then it follows the ground contour. We'll come over to this style and we'll lower her down here. This one is done by this. It allows that thing to follow the ground contour. You hit the ground, allows it to pick the mower up and float over your obstructions. So when you're looking at mowers, you need to look at the quality of construction underneath of it. You need to look at the hitch design. Those are things, the tail wheel design, that's all going to help determine the best cutter to fit your needs. The next thing, blade tip speed. Wow, wow, wow. The industry brags about blade tips too. I can tell you one thing. We were actually helped with a prototype unit one time, and they changed the gearboxes out. And I asked them why. They said they had too fast a blade tip speed. And I was like, whoa, everybody says you need to buy by blade tip speed. Said it was creating too much suction, holding the material up under the deck and not distributing it. So they slowed the gearbox ratio down to slow the blade tip speed to still create enough lift, but to allow the material to distribute more evenly without lumping and bunching. So you got to have good blade tip speed, but don't judge your purchase decision on blade tip speed alone. So you need to match. The manufacturers are going to do a good job. Your quality manufacturers, your big names in your business, are going to be, they're going to have the right blade tip speed to work with their machine. But don't judge your sole purchase on blade tip speed alone. The other things are options, like we discussed. Chain guards or belt deflectors. I can tell you, used to sell belt deflectors on our 20 series mowers, or the compatible like that. Customers were having to replace them. I can sell you a chain guard, you buy it, you're not going to have to come back. Quality matters to us. We want to sell quality products. That's why we sell Massey Ferguson and RhinoAG. Very high quality, reliable products. This one only comes with a belt deflector. The economical mower, you're going to be replacing belt deflectors over time, or you're going to be into a safety issue with stuff that could get thrown. Chain guards, you don't have to worry about it. There's not a whole lot of options in this series of mower until you start stepping up into maybe a 7-foot cutter, and that's where the single tail wheel is what both of these are designed as. We come over to our 7-foot, and you can buy it as a single tail wheel or a dual tail wheel. A dual tail wheel helps keep the mower more level as it's going all across rolling contours and that type. We sell our 7-foots with a dual tail wheel to make it more level and easier to operate. So when you're looking for a cutter, there's more than just a gearbox on a deck with a set of blades underneath. Make sure you take a look at how it's built, how it's made, and these tips to help you find the perfect rotary cutter to meet your needs. If you're in West Central Missouri, come visit us at Vahrenberg Implement. We would love to show you the RhinoAG product. We sell lots of 10 series mowers, and we sell lots of 20 series mowers. It's all what meets the customer's needs and wants. The other thing, just seen one other little thing, is pin style. This is more economical. It's a bolt-in pin. You have to pull the arm off. on the 10 series. When we come over to our 20 series mower, you actually have a multi-purpose pin. You've got category 2 here, category 1 here, and you've got bushings that actually come with it that you can put on and make for category 3 or cat 2 quick hitch. One thing with quick hitch mowers, this pin and this pin have to align. You're going to use this lower pin if you're running a category quick hitch on it. So that's just another tip. The clevis style with the multi-purpose pin versus the bolt-in pin is going to be some of the differences in construction and cost that are going to separate different mowers. I hope that helped you learn more about selecting the best rotary cutter to meet your needs. RhinoAG has a wider range of products from 4-foot cutters to 20-foot. We've got several of them in stock here at Vahrenberg Implement. Some cool little cutters, the 10-foot and 12-foot that only take 25 horsepower and 35 PTO horsepower to operate. If you're in West Central Missouri, come visit us at the first stoplight here at Higginsville, Missouri. We're located on 13 Highway and Fairground Avenue, or Business 13. We're just 4 miles north of Interstate 70, 49 miles from the Missouri-Kansas line. We would love to show you, teach you, and help you find the perfect rotary cutter to meet your needs. Our inventory is thinning down. We've got stuff sold. I've actually just sold this 26 here today. We're getting it ready for a customer. We had it hooked up, tested up, and they're gonna come pick it up. So if you're in West Central Missouri, come get your cutter at Vahrenberg Implement. And as you can see, we'll color match them to your tractor.